the nation will be able to grow appreciably only for a short time, because at some point it will run out of that stock of technologies from overseas that it has not already imported and made use of. At that point, the nation that doesn't do any innovation, the nation will have to wait for the little trickle of new innovations arising overseas. The stockpile of innovations from the past century will have been used up. At that point, when there's this sudden slowdown in the rate of advance of new products and new methods, at that point, employment in the nation will contract, and it'll be very difficult to get it back to the high level that it was at before. That may sound like an abstract speculation, but Europe provides a very valuable lesson. After World War II, Europe did not regain the innovation that it had shown in the 1930s, the 1920s, and earlier. Yet, for a few decades, in the 50s and 60s and 70s, it could draw on the remaining reservoir of new products and methods in America. But the rate of innovation in America slowed around 1970. As a result, Germany, France, and Italy began catching up with America at a faster pace than they had been able to do before. And they caught up with American technologies by the 1990s. In the 1990s. By the year 2000, new products and methods in Europe virtually stopped arriving in France, Italy, and Germany. But business investment kept on going for a while. Our capital ran into diminishing returns because there was no more advance in technologies. So at some point, investment virtually stopped. And when that happened, the demand for labor plunged. It's interesting, you can see the growth of employment in France and Italy abruptly falling almost to zero in 1998 and 1999. Furthermore, as Europeans continued saving, despite the slowdown of productivity in Europe, European wealth rose relative to wages and productivity. So with workers becoming more and more wealthy relative to their wages, they pushed up wages, and the competitiveness of France and Italy, and France and Italy especially, fell. Germany is a very special case. Okay, if innovation is of great importance to a nation, indigenous innovation, what kinds of things have to happen for a nation to become highly innovative? Well, there must be a supply of innovative talent, experience with business in general, and with innovation in particular, helps to prepare people to succeed in innovation. Russia's experience with business and innovation has increased enormously over recent decades. So that's a good sign for Russia. Values Attitudes and beliefs are also important here. Attitudes that encourage children to strive for success may increase the number of people in the labor force who are willing to bear the risks of an innovative career. But on the other hand, an outsized desire for excess may instead drive people into politics, or drive them into the professions, or drive them into the financial sector, rather than into innovation. The supply of innovative talent comes not just from people who are willing to bear risk. It flows, I think, much more importantly, from an intellectual drive, a drive to understand something not previously understood, a drive to hit upon a new model and to show the world that you had that new model and it works. Another attitude that nourishes the supply of innovative talent is the willingness to stand apart from others, and even a need to be different from the others, to express one's individuality. These are what I call modern values, even though they begin around 1390. But they keep on, there's a whole series of modern attitudes that develops from around 1390 right into the 19th century. Traditional values, a nation that sticks with traditional values, such as family values, may thus be an obstacle to innovating if that requires, to the extent that innovating requires breaking away from the community, breaking away from the family. Marconi, you know, when he invented the radio, loosely speaking, he had to leave Italy because his friends thought he was incorrect in wanting to do something so radical as that. He went to London. There must also be not just a supply of innovativeness, there also has to be a demand for innovations in order to have a highly innovative economy. First, there will not be much innovation without people able and willing to pioneer the adoption of new products or methods. A paper that I loved very much when I was young in the profession in 1966 is a paper about the Nelson Phelps model of the diffusion of an innovation. And we were arguing that the success of a new product in winning innovation and the speed with which an innovation diffuses over an industry depends a lot upon the education of the potential users. I was thinking of farmers. My mother was a farmer my mother was from a farming family in southern Illinois. And it always struck me, all of my mother's sisters and brothers, all of them went to college. And their parents were relatively well educated too. So, another factor at work on the demand side is that there cannot be a wide demand for innovative projects unless there are people who trust startup entrepreneurs enough to invest or lend the money to get the entrepreneurs started. Widespread innovation requires many financial entities that are prepared to make investments in an innovative project on the basis of not much more than a hunch or an intuition about the talents and drive of the entrepreneur and his team. Of course, angel investors and super angels have to make money from time to time, or else they will have to drop out of the business. But people wouldn't be willing to play that role unless they were drawn to the challenges, drawn to the involvement in innovation. Finally, the owners of existing enterprises play a role in deciding or determining how innovative the management of existing enterprises is. In the United States, we see that the system of share ownership has led to short-termism. We have seen Microsoft and, in Japan, Sony lose much of its entrepreneurship for fear that major entrepreneurial initiatives would cause a long, deep slump in share prices that would put at risk the current management of the company. True risk capital is vital, and stock markets, leveraged buyout funds, and banks don't provide true risk capital. And that may be why Silicon Valley, where all the innovation comes from, is so small. There's just not enough risk capital in the United States to finance 2 Silicon Valleys, or 3 Silicon Valleys, or 10 Silicon Valleys. I've been talking a lot about a nation's rate of innovation, but what on earth does it mean? Is it measurable? Yeah, it is measurable. The starting point for a calculation of the rate of innovation has to be the data on the rate of growth of productivity as measured by national income statistics. The first step is to estimate the part of the growth of productivity that can be laid, or that can be laid to the growth of capital per worker. Upon subtracting that contribution to productivity growth from the growth of productivity, we obtain the portion of productivity growth that we may suppose is the result of better methods and successful new products. As you are likely to know, the term for that concept is the growth of total factor productivity. Output per basket of labor and capital.